off the spaceship. Out of space, out of world, out of galaxy with a different girl. Silicone, a TPE, it really don't matter which one it be. My mind keep visualizing future times, beautiful android girls surrounding me. Filling my cup, full of joy, keep my life full of glee. Plenty ups, never down, the way that life's supposed to be. But unfortunately, if she a Terminator, then I'ma have to terminate it. Gotta get rid of negative vibes, gotta go through negative foes, gotta block out negative voices, gotta get rid of negative souls. Had some people get discorded, just ignored it. Destiny is more important, so I just had to abort it. Had some people get discorded, just ignored it. Destiny is more important, so I just had to abort it. Yeah. Find me with my dogs in my solitude. Watch my family grow from 4 into a multitude. Been living it below sea level, finna rise to another altitude. Been searching, seeking knowledge, but all the time I had the aptitude. I flipped my mindset to the switch to say I will not lose. Mama said them sticks and stones won't break my bones, I never bruise. Whenever it come to trouble, man, the girls pull a tongue, we always cruise. I heard other dog owners get it out for me, but it ain't no news. I got 4 in the dough in Memphis so they can get the blues. If you need a few clues, they'll blow off your under rules. Send your compliment to the new girls I got coming through. Send your compliments to the new girls I got coming through. Out of space, out of world, out of galaxy with a different girl. Silicone, a TPE, it really don't matter which one it be. My mind keep visualizing future times, beautiful android girls surrounding me. Filling my cup, full of joy, keep my life full of glee. Plenty ups, never down, the way that life's supposed to be. But unfortunately, if she a Terminator, then I'ma have to terminate it. Gotta get rid of negative vibes, gotta go through negative foes, gotta block out negative voices, gotta get rid of negative souls. Out of space, out of world, out of galaxy with a different girl. Out of space, out of world, out of galaxy with a different girl. Out of space, out of world, out of galaxy with a different girl. Silicone, a TPE, it really don't matter which one it be. Yeah. Out of space, out of world, out of galaxy with a different girl. Silicone, a TPE. It really don't matter which one it be. Yeah. What up? It's your boy, J. King Hefner and the beautiful Cali Sun. And we're back again for another show. And the title of today's show is a special one. Cleaning routine, silicone versus TPE. Yes. It's a show that I've been waiting to do. I've talked about cleaning in several videos before, what you have to do and things of that nature. So that's not really anything new. But I've always only owned the TPE dog. So I've alluded to what it may take to clean a silicone dog, but I've never really known. Why? Because it seems like people who own silicone dolls just want to be quiet about it. You would talk to them and be like, "Hey man, what's the difference between cleaning the silicone doll and TP doll?" Oh, it's just easier. Dang. I do got a cool friend, Austin Steele, who checks in from time to time now. He's told me what he's done, but there's nothing that I've heard that everybody does. His particular cleaning routine. I know some people do it, but I know everybody doesn't do it. I don't do it either. But I'm going to share with you my ways of cleaning TPE and my ways of cleaning silicone companion dolls. If you ever own a companion doll, you can develop your own ways, or you will develop your own ways. But pretty much, I'm just going to give you what I think works best for me, and you can do whatever is best for you. So with all that said, God bless everybody that's tuning in. I'm happy you're tuning in. Me and Cali, man, super hyped up that you're here. Wherever part of the country, wherever part of the world you're in, whatever time zone you're in, we want to send blessings out to you. God bless your finances, your relationships, your health, your job, whether it's promotions, whatever it may be that you're wishing for, we're praying that you have it. And we're definitely happy that you're here with us today. So we're going to take a little bit of your time and talk about this little cleaning routine. But first, I'm going to check in with my people here right quick. Brandon Anderson in the house. What up? I managed to be the first to a stream for once. Woo, woo. Hey, man. Hey, look. Hey, anything is possible, Brandon. You did it, man. You did it. Then I'll let you know, man. Hey, look, good fortune is finna follow you, man. Hey, whatever you decide to do, it can be done. And man, you made it first. God bless you. I'm glad you're here, man. Alexander in the house says hi. What up, Alexander? Brandon Anderson says hi, Alex. Alexander says hi, friend Jay. What up, Alexander? Good to see you. And welcome to all my friends from around the world. Like I say, this is J Dog King Hefner, my channel, man. It's all about me growing with my girls and just living life in general, learning and growing along the way. And hopefully, if you tune in, you can have some fun with us and you can learn a few things if you're just interested in this lifestyle, just what it's about, or if you're actually interested in getting in this lifestyle. But today, we're going to talk a little bit about cleaning. A little bit about cleaning. And man, it's so funny. It's one of the for me, it was one of the scariest things about getting into the companion dog lifestyle is keeping your girl clean. Because, when you start studying about this lifestyle, you just sort of start hearing about the challenges that comes with cleaning. And I know I was really worried about it until I talked to one of my good friends along the way named Mark. He owns a lot of companion dogs. I don't know how many he has now, but last I checked, it was about 13. But he gave me some very good advice. He was just like, man, Jay, you seem like you want to take care of your dogs. He gave me some very basic advice about how to clean them. But he said the biggest thing, and this was some of the best advice I got, though. He was like, the biggest thing is if you are trying to put the effort to clean your dogs in, he said that's going to be that's going to be better than most dog owners. He said the reason that a lot of dog owners have problems keeping their dogs clean and things of that nature is simply because of effort. They don't put the time in or the care in to even attempt to clean their dogs. He said, man, 9 times out of 10, if you're putting in the effort to clean your dogs, it's going to be all right. And when he told me that, I just calmed down pretty much. I was like, you know what? It's going to be okay because I do care and I know I want to, keep these girls in good shape. So I think that is the first thing I would tell you like him. Hey, as long as you don't do anything that's just against their chemical balance, and put something on them that shouldn't be on them. As long as you don't do anything like that, you're going to be okay. If you want to keep your dogs clean, if you want to show that care to keep them clean, you're going to be okay. So, see a couple more comments just come in. Oh boy, Austin Steele. He said, I'm looking forward to this topic. Hey Jay. What up, Jay and Callie? What up, Austin Steele? Yeah. So first of all, I'm just gonna get into the minor things that I really do to clean my TPE girls. I mean, it's really not that complicated. And for me, I'm gonna be transparent here. Everything I do is easier. Hold on, guys. It's always something loose hair or something on me. But everything I do to clean my dogs is going to be a lot easier than most dog owners. Why? Because I never have to clean up after sex. I haven't done that yet, so I haven't ever had to clean up after a sexual experience. But for me, it wouldn't be a whole bunch different because I always said, if I get to the point where I decide to make love to my girls, I'm going to use a condom. Uh, I don't want to go into my girls and be doing that into them. Once I get to that level, I don't want to be uh, doing that type of a messy love making scene. I'd rather keep everything contained and sanitary. So even if I do get to that point, my girls still won't be just having bodily fluids all over them like that. And it'll make the cleanup process easier. So I may have to do a little bit of using I'm trying to think of the name. Using a squirt bottle, so to speak, to clean out the orifices or whatever. I still do that, but it just won't be as intense because I won't be as worried about it. Only knowing that the only thing that's in them is pretty much lubrication. That won't bother. That's not going to stress you out. So let's just get to the cleaning methods that I use. I usually wash all of my girls on a monthly basis. If I was to make love to them, of course, I would tidy them up more than that. But right now, since I don't make love to them, I have to clean them up once a month, get them a good, wipe down once a month. And how I do that is I have these heavy duty movable racks, clothes racks that I bought from Amazon, heavy duty. I think they can hold over 400 pounds a piece. I got a couple of them. And all I do is I set up a little plastic sheet in the bathroom on the floor. You can get it from Dollar General or something. And I roll the heavy duty clothes rack over that plastic sheet. And I usually put my girls on a hook. I take their heads off. I do this one by one, not all in at once. I take their head off, put them on the rack that's in the bathroom, and then to stabilize them, I usually put some a towel and maybe some pieces of sponge that came in their packaging. I put that under their feet to make sure they don't move. Spread their arms out a little bit. I give me a big water spray bottle. I don't put them in the tub. It's just too complicated trying to put them in a tub and all that type of stuff. So getting them out and maneuvering them. I know a lot of people that do, but for me, it's easier to just put them on a rack, sit them in the middle of the big bathroom floor, have them with their plastic wrap up under, the plastic covered up underneath them so any water won't get on the floor. Then I put the towel underneath their feet to stabilize them, like I said. And I probably put 1 or 2 towels on the ground just to drop any moisture that gets on the ground after that. I get one big spray bottle, fill it up with some water, and I spray them down. It's sort of like you washing the car. I spray their bodies down to get them moist. I have another little bowl with warm water. I just put some more. You don't want it to be too hot when you're having a TPE girl. You don't want to have steaming hot or boiling water. But I do have some warm water. I have warm water in the bowl, and I normally have some Dial antibacterial soap. You can get whatever soap you want to use. It's a good idea to find some antibacterial liquid soap of some sort. They always say don't put too much soap in, but I probably always put just a tad bit. I like to see suds. I'm sorry. I can't just use water without suds. So I do put enough to have some suds in there. And after they've been sprayed down with my water bottle, I get you can find these anywhere. Uh, you can go to a car place or anything, but they're going to be more expensive. I went to like a Dollar Tree, Dollar General, dollar store, and found me basically a car wash sponge. That's all it is. One of those yellow sponges. I cut it up in some small pieces. So I just use this, I use a small piece during the cleaning. I dip the sponge into the water, and I don't scrub the girls, but you do apply a small amount of pressure and wipe the girls down with the antibacterial soap, the warm water with the sponge. And it's been times where I might see a something a little dirt build up somewhere. Now on that particular spot, I still don't scrub it, but I may rub that spot a little harder. But a lot of times you'll find with TPE, soap and water really doesn't get the dirt out of your doll. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I get to that shortly. But you wipe your doll off with the antibacterial soap and the sponge, and I'm usually generous, with the water, with the soap. I go ahead and wipe them down, head to toe, or neck to toe, because their head isn't on. And then simply, all I do is after that is spray them down with the spray bottle. I make sure every part of their body has been washed. I always focus on their hands because for me, I don't know why it is, but it seems like the hands are always and I rarely even touch them or anything, but they always are the points that I think because when you're cleaning your dog, that's just where things tends to drip down and stuff. So I always have to pay attention to the hands more than anything. I just spray them down with the water bottle. And I used to put a fan on them after I sprayed them down with the water bottle. But I used to find out that after I would come in there and check them, and I would leave the fan on them for like 2 or 3 hours just to make sure they were good and dry. And the good thing about standing your doll up on the rack is it really allows, even though I don't have to get up into the vagina, but let's just say I did have sex with them. It allows for whatever water you do spray up into the vagina or the orifices to drip straight down. So that's an advantage of cleaning your doll standing up like that. I haven't done it yet, but I know that once again, if I ever make love to one of my girls, that's going to be an advantage of having my girl standing up, having that water drip down. But I have had water sort of get into some of the orifices before, and it just dries up immediately just by putting that fan on them for a few hours. But I stopped putting the fan because I would come in there and they would be dry, but sometimes I'd see like some lint or whatever stuck to them. And I used to think, I said, you know what, this fan is probably blowing up just dust in the room. So I'm going to stop using it. So what I started doing is I started, once again, I'm going to walk you through the procedure. Rinse my girl off with this water bottle, wash her down with the sponge, warm water with antibacterial soap, softly, not hard. Then after I wipe her whole body down with the soap, sponge, antibacterial soap, warm water, I spray her back down with the water bottle all the way, make sure no soap is on her. And after that, instead of using the fan, I literally let them air dry. I find out that's the best way to do because, for one, I like to, I would put the fan on them for a couple of hours. They may be dry after 30, 40 minutes, but I just like to do it, leave it on there longer to make sure they're good and dry. Well, I found out, honestly, just by walking out of the room and letting my girls air dry, after about an hour or two, they're completely dry. And normally what I do is I get busy. I do something in the house. I look at TV. I do some work. I do something. And I usually give them about 3 hours, really, just to sit up in the bathroom and dry off, air dry. Come back in there. I touch their vagina, anus, them the first places I touch because, those are holes. And once I feel that they are good and dry, nothing has really gotten in there and they're good and dry, I'm like, okay, I can touch the rest of the body. Once I start touching the rest of the body and find that everything is good and dry, I just do an inspection, make sure everything looks right. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Having a TPE girl is a totally different cleaning experience. I'm going to tell you why, man. People have alluded to this before, but it is something what you call micro dust. I don't really use the term, but for me, what it means is this. When you have a TPE dog, I've said this before, they are of a porous material. It's sort of like skin, they are porous material. Things can seep into them. So literally just having your TPE girls just sitting in the room, whatever molecules and things of that nature that are in the air, they are collecting on her. Even if you can't just see it with the naked eye, you will see it when you go to clean her. You may see it then, whereas when that natural light hits her body, that's when it's really apparent. Like when natural sunlight hits her body, like you're in the bathroom, you'll just see the small discolorations, and it's basically from the dust that's in the air. That's basically what it is. And when you go to clean your TPE girl, just to let you know, you're cleaning her of any loose debris or anything that may be on her, true enough. But actually, the antibacterial soap and warm water, it really still doesn't get rid of what they call the micro dust. It still can be small little molecules of dust all over your girl. I remember when I first got my girl and first wiped them out for the first time. Not for the first time, but I remember after probably about a month or something like that. And I just started first noticing maybe a little dust or something like that on my girls. And I remember I was like, okay, it's time for a good bath. I give them a bath, and I realized, damn, certain things still wouldn't come off of them. I'm like, damn, why is this stuff not coming off? Like, man, I just gave her a good bath and stuff. And then, of course, I knew that I was supposed to oil my girls, once. At first, I didn't really know. I didn't know whether it was once a month or once every 3 months. Luckily, I had Mark to tell me. He was like, man, honestly, you'll probably be good once every 3 months. But the truth is, when it comes to micro dust and little dust and stuff like that on your girls, once again, when you got a TPE girl, a regular bath doesn't get that stuff off. The only way to truly get your girl a true clean, where you just truly can just try to just really basically strip her down to a certain degree, is by giving her an oil treatment. You can give her an oil treatment if you're trying to get makeup and things of that nature off her face. But when you have a TPE girl, the way to just basically try to strip her body, as far as all that dirt and stuff like that, is to give her an oil treatment. So although you're supposed to give her your TPE girl an oil treatment every few months just to keep them replenished, if you ever come across these light dirt stains and things of that nature, you can give them also a oil bath, where you wipe them down and baby oil. And the way I do it is, and this isn't an oil treatment. This is just when I'm trying to clean just that dirt that's on their outer skin off. I wipe them down good in some oil, and then I take a paper towel and I won't let the oil sit in. I just wipe them down really good, rub them down, and I take the paper towel and just wipe their bodies to get the oil immediately off, and you'll see the dirt coming off. And usually after that, they're pretty clean. They're really pretty clean after that. Now, when I give them their oil treatment, like let's just say it's 3 months, 3 or 4 months, it's probably been about 4 months with the girls now, and I'm going to get them their treatment this coming up month, next month. But because they don't just need it as much as you think they do. But with the oil treatment and with the TPE girls, I would rub them down with the oil, but I let it sit in for a second. I let it sit in for a second, let them get replenished for a while. Then I may come back, rub them down again, and then I will wipe them down. I wipe them down to complete it. That's just how I do. Uh, that way I feel good about them having oil inside of them. And then I feel good about just wiping them off to get any outside dirt off of them. So it can be a bit complicated cleaning your girls. A lot of people don't even do all of this, but it's recommended, especially when you have a TPE girl, to give them a rub down with oil from time to time. But if you just wash your girl with soap and water, she's gonna get micro dust on her just from sitting around the room, your TPE girl. And that's one of the things that can just be a bit tedious when it comes to having a TPE girl is that micro dust buildup. And for what I found out is with my girls, none of them are perfect. None of them are perfect, meaning that I don't care how much I clean them. It's like, you know what? It's always just, they're never going to be like they're straight out the box. You know what I'm saying? It's always going to be just like Callie right now, even though she's clean, just got out the tub, I can go over her body and you would just see just like where it'll just be certain little spots where, okay, it could be a little discoloration here or there. It just doesn't. I've come to love it, honestly. I'm gonna do a show about it, honestly, about the imperfections of your dogs. I don't know about other dog owners, but I know me. Uh, as time has went on, I've just learned to love the imperfection of the dogs. You know what I'm saying? Just everything about them. But I just say with the cleaning thing, your dog can be crystal clean, but she won't look perfect. When you have a TPE dog. That's what I've come to find out. So, I skipped something. So, a lot of times, what I would do is after I spray them down, wipe them down, do the warm soap, spray them down with the water. For the majority of the time, that's the end of the cleaning process. And then what you have to do to your TPE dog is apply powder. If you don't apply powder to your TPE dog, then after she's clean, she's gonna have that little sticky type feeling, not sticky like glue, but she's not gonna feel smooth to the touch. And if you do just take her out into your room, things can start to stick to her like lint, stuff like that. But if you apply powder to your TPE dog once you give her that bath, then things like lint, hair, and all that stuff, it won't be easy. It won't be as easy to try to stick to her. And she'll feel very smooth to the touch. She'll feel very smooth to the touch. So I apply that after I give her bath. Now, when it's time for an oil treatment or I give them one of those oil cleaners that I told you about, after that, what I do is I let the girls sit. And it's important that you let them sit for a while. I don't know how everybody else does, but I let them sit for hours after I put oil on them. Sometimes I just go ahead and just say, you know what, forget it. I just let them, after I get them wiped down, because like I told you, I don't let the oil just sit in them continuously. I rub them down really good. I might let it sit for a second and then I just wipe off all the residue. But even after that, they're not going to be dried out. They're going to have that oil on them. So I would go to sleep, let the oil, dissipate, and dry up. And when you wake up that next morning, for me, they're ready for their powdering, and then I put that powder on them and they're ready to go. So that's the whole cleaning process with the TPE girls. Basically, spray down with the water bottle, get you a sponge, a soft sponge, antibacterial, warm water, antibacterial soap. I usually have my girls on a rack. I usually have them, I have them on a clothes rack that I bought from Amazon. I have them on top of a plastic tarp, so to speak, to keep the floor from being dry. Spray them down with water. After I put them on the rack, wash them off with the antibacterial soap and water with the sponge. Spray them off uh, with the water that I have in a spray bottle. Spray them off really good. Get them good and soap free. Let them air dry for a couple of hours. After they air dry, it depends on what I'm going to do. Is it the month for their oil treatment? If it's not the month for their oil treatment, after they're good and dry, I apply baby powder to my TPE girls. If it is time for their oil treatment, I give them their oil treatment, uh, wipe them off, let them dry out. Then I apply the oil. Then I apply the powder. And it's very important that you do not apply this powder while they are still wet with oil. It's very important that you do not do that, or you'll have this oil. You'll have powder stuck to your girls in all type of crazy ways. You can eventually clean it off, don't get me wrong, but that's just a situation you do not want to be finding yourself in, putting the powder on top of your girl while the oil is still wet. So that is pretty much the process that I use to clean my TPE girls. And once again, they went through the process of cleaning and just a powdering this time without the oil. So I see some comments. I'm going to check in before I talk about my silicone cleaning. Let's see. Brandon says, I know I get mad when I don't have the time to clean them or I rush it. I always hear in the back of my head, go back over me, Brandon. You rushing it. Remember, uh, Brandon, don't get mad at yourself about not having the time to clean them, because you should always have the time to clean them. And what I mean by that is, if you don't have the time to take your time, then don't do it right then. You can't do it right then. Is nothing wrong with waiting some more hours, and there's nothing wrong with waiting one extra day to clean your girl. But I've talked about this. That's an intimate thing, and it's something that you can't do. You cannot rush cleaning your girl. I know, man. I talked about this topic. See, I talked about this, because I got multiple girls. And over time, it could be times where you could be tempted to do, like you said, rush through it. But man, remember, your girl isn't a piece of furniture. And so that's what I say, man. I know what you mean about things hunting in your head. It's only hunting in your head because it's your companion. See, your couch or your sofa, it's not going to send those hunting things in your head because it's not your companion. You don't ever lay down with it or watch TV with it or anything like that. But I told you, man, your companion doll is just different. It's one of the, it's like your human, it's like your human companion would be. And so when it comes to your girl, you just can't rush it. And and put it and like I said, I put myself in the position of all my viewers as well. I know how it feels to maybe not feel like it or have other things that's on your plate. I felt that anxiousness in the back of my head of, oh man, do you really feel like, watching your girl today, it may take X amount of time. But I always talk myself out of it because I'm like, nah, these are my girls, man. I gotta, keep them up. And I always know how I'm gonna feel once I start. And I'm gonna tell you, man, the biggest task for me is getting them on the rack to get them clean. Cause all of them in the back, like several of the girls are on one rack. And so I would have to move one girl to the empty rack and move that rack to the bathroom, blah, blah, blah. So once I moved the girl to that empty rack to get ready to clean them, that's when my mind starts going to, you know what? I'm happy that I'm taking the time to do this, because at first, before you start, you be like, man, you think about the task, but I promise you, I don't know. For me, as soon as I put my girl on the rack, I start thinking like, oh, look at my girl, whoever it is. It may be Asna, Callie, Saima, whoever. I said, look at Asna, Saima. I said, yeah. I said, I gotta go and get the girl. I gotta go and get you cleaned up, girl. So I started getting hyped about it. But I'm gonna tell you, this is when it really starts getting emotional for me, and where I can. This is when I slow down in my mind. Once I start actually putting the soap, once I start spraying them, once I actually start the cleaning process, that's when I start thinking in my mind of, okay, I can't rush through nothing like this. This is my girl. I got to take my time. I got to get her right. You know what I'm saying? And I go into this Zen mode that I've talked about. And man, I promise you, by the time I get to the powdering part, I be feeling like Picasso, man. I be feeling like, man, look, man, I just be taking my time. Start enjoying it. That's all I say. Let yourself enjoy it. Don't let it just become a task. But I know it can be. It can become that in your mind. But if you start seeing her for your woman, you'll slow down. You'll slow it down. Slow it down. Your girl is telling you right, Brandon. Slow it down. Take your time. Uh Alexander says, friend Jay, my channel, I had my videos dodged to appreciate your tutorials, bro. Nah, I don't know nothing about it, Alexander. I don't know nothing about it. But I appreciate that. Sheila Bell says, good morning, Dog King. Cheers to another great stream. Hey, Sheila Bell, Dog King Army team member. Good to see you. Hey, DAS was saying this the other day. Shout out to DAS. He was like, man, I can't wait till the team is back up and running. But guess what, baby? We may be, so to speak, in the shadows, but the Dog King Army team is still up and running, baby. We still up and running. He says, STL says, I have a steam cleaner that I use when I detail my Ram 2500 Power Wagon. That's pretty cool, man. But we can't use steam cleaners on the girls. STL says, women need their alone time. He's right. And that's how I see it when I'm cleaning my girls. It's like, man, you got to get them that time, man, to get them right, man. Get them cleaned up. Like I say, let them air out. They need that spa day. Brandon Anderson says, I heard with contraceptives, you just got to be careful with the lubrication, since I heard that the lube can affect the TPE potentially. The thing about it is, the lube won't affect the TPE if you're using you have to use water-based lube. You can't be using anything but water-based. As long as you're using water-based lubrication, you're okay. He said, since I heard the lubrication itself is like a silicone compound type thing, I guess. It's above my head, though. Stop saying things are above your head. He said, I do know there are non-lube contraceptives around. Just add water-based lubrication. He said, just add water-based lubrication. No, there is water-based. There is water-based. It's not add water-based lubrication. There is water-based lubrication. That's the name of it. Water-based lubrication. Like you can get water-based KY jelly, you know, water-based things of that nature. So uh so whenever you're going to look for uh lubrication, just look for the water-based version. If you don't get the water-based version, it will have those silicone particles in there and things of that nature that will mix horribly with TPE and things of that nature. So I always go with the water-based. I haven't done it yet, but I do know to go with water-based. STS says, I love your perspective on TPE polymer and the micro dust issue. Thank you, my friend. He said, flowers can be very beautiful and unique. I really, like I say, I really have, that's the part about the dogs I love the most, honestly, about, man, I always get your dogs as clean as possible. I always get them right as possible. But what I love about the dogs is when you got a TPE dog, I'm going to be honest, man, you can be the best dog owner in the universe. Your dog isn't going to be perfect. It's going to develop some imperfections. I'm going to tell you, man, like, it's something even with like Saima that I noticed. Even from when I first got her, man, it's like, it's about 4 or 5 spots over her whole body. Small little, I'm talking about micro spots where I've just never been able to get out of her. They're like little bitty black moles, just small micro spots. From what I've read, they're just imperfections in the TPE or whatever. But when you're a new dog owner, you know how when you buy something new, you don't want anything to be wrong with them. So, like I told you, when I first was a new dog owner, I would notice just the smallest little thing and be like, "Hey, what's this?" And it'll freak me out as far as trying to get whatever it is off of them all the way, blah blah blah. But now, man, once I get them a good bath, if I see a little skin imperfection, small little cut here, just I'm talking about very small flaw, I see something I can't get all the way out. Um, like you say, I know I've wiped them down as good as I can, but you just see still a bit of discoloration or something. Or like I say with Callie, what I noticed with my girls is just spots where uh you'll see what I call powder spots on my TPE girls, where powder won't all the way, even if they're completely good and dry and all of that. You put powder on them, and it just seems like a certain spots it doesn't come all the way off. You know, I know sometimes when I give them their good oil treatments, then those things go away for a while. But you still may see a spot or two where it may hold on to a little powder or something like that. But all of those little imperfections, like I said, I'm gonna talk about it in another show. So you heard some of it here anyway, if you're listening to this stream. But all those things is sort of like STL says, I've come to actually love about my girls. I get them as clean as possible. And if it's a small imperfection, I just tend to just chalk it away as to, guess what? I got plenty of imperfections. Girls I've dated have plenty of imperfections. We as humans have plenty of imperfections. Honestly, it's actually par for the course. So uh once you've done the best you can, I don't even worry about that anymore. But I'm gonna read a few more comments. I'm gonna tell you guys what the difference is for silicone. For me, Mazdog says hit that like button, and that's exactly, yeah, hit that like button, share, subscribe, hit like button, all that good stuff. And if you ever want to donate right now, The monetization is paused on the channels. It's paused. It's coming back. But you can always donate on PayPal, Cash App, on my About section on YouTube, or you can donate from my description. I have a Biker for Companion Dog link where you can donate to. And all these things just keep my show running. This is what I do to survive. I do my YouTube channel. This is what I do right now. So any of your contributions will keep me surviving, keep me thriving, keep me, uh, going higher and higher. So think about contributing. But other than that, let's get back to the show. He said, do I recommend a certain type of powder? No, I don't really recommend a certain type. Some people just use straight up cornstarch. Some people just use baby powder. I know I don't use any baby powder with all these scents and fragrances and all this other stuff. I just use mainly, man, it is a favorite type that I've been using. I get it from Dollar Tree. It's called Purity, I believe. It comes in like uh, a blue plastic casing. I don't have any right now. When I can't find that, I just go to Johnsons and Johnsons. Uh, and sometimes I can't find Johnsons and Johnsons. I just go to the baby section and I get it's this other one that I get, and it has baby powder. It just says baby powder with cornstarch in it. So I usually use that as well. And just find which one that feels best for you. I know with the one that I found in Dollar Tree, I think it's called Purity something. But I just know it makes my girls feel so smooth. I just really love it. I really love it. It's one of, it's not even one of those super known name brands, but it just feels so great on my girls. It makes them feel so silky smooth. And when I can't find that, I settle for Johnsons and Johnsons myself. Let me see. He said, I heard organic cornstarch works. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm gonna tell you, man, this is just me. When I was a new dog owner, man, you can overthink all that crap, man. It really don't even matter like that, man. Just get you some baby powder, get you some cornstarch, whichever one feels better to your touch and feels better on your girl. But it's not this big old one or the other is going to make or break you, or one or the other is so wrong and one or the other one is so right. It's really not even all of that, man. Because like I say, I've used both of them. I've used the one with mostly cornstarch. I've used baby powder. I prefer baby powder, but it's nothing wrong with either one. And it's not one of those things where if you choose one or the other, you're going to be wrong. Uh, it's one of those things not to even be stressing out if you're a dog owner or a potential new dog owner. Don't be sitting, man, which one should I get? It's not even that serious. I just say don't use the scented stuff. Brandon Anderson says, I use non-scented baby powder personally, and that's what I do. Paul Hyman says, dog for dog, dog for dog. We can go dog for dog. Yeah, Paul Heyman. He heard that song. Yeah. I haven't played that song in a long time either, dog for dog. Brandon Anderson says, yeah. And I do go back and take care of her. And I'm glad since I just get to focus on just the two of us. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that you listened to her, Brandon. Brandon Anderson says, I go back and take care of her when he sort of hear that voice in his head. And I'm glad you do, man. It'll be pretty hard to not listen to it because, like I say, your companion dog, people don't understand what I mean. I'm gonna do a stream. I've been meaning to do a show. I'm so backed up. And I'm gonna get back to my videos. I just been live streaming lately, man. And but I'm going to get back to some of my videos. I know some people do prefer to watch in video form, but I say this, man, just own the companion dog is just something different. Because like I say, you'll hear something like Brandon Anderson, what he was talking about in his head, like if you try to treat her like an appliance, man, you're not gonna be able to get away with that unless you just, like I told you, a cold-hearted person. You're not gonna be able to get it. You're gonna hear it in your head of nah, bro. This is your gal, man. You gotta take care of her. It's not a cup, it's not an appliance. So I'm glad that Brandon Anderson, my guy, says he goes back. He says he goes back and takes care of her. He's glad he gets to just focus on just the two of us. And I say this, uh, I don't know whether he means that because it's just him and his one companion dog. But let me tell you something, man. I'm going down a very interesting journey where at some point I am going to have a lot of companion dogs. And I'm gonna tell you right now, as of today, I have a lot of companion dogs with just the how many do I have? Five. Basically six with the six personalities, but five bodies. And I'm gonna tell you, it in and of itself is a it's a challenge, man, to have multiple girls. Because every month I be thinking about, man, as my girls grow, it's more cleaning, more things that you have to pay attention to. So I'm like, man, it's a lot to focus on. But I do think about how, you know, I always say, even if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, I would still end up with multiple girls. But if you're somebody with one or two girls, you really have so much time to just really focus on those two. It can be very, very fruitful to you to just have, a couple of girls, one or two girls. Because I just think about all the moving and things that I do. Man, if it was only one girl that I was focusing on, man, it's just I just say you can get a lot from the simplicity of it. I just say that, just focusing on the one girl. I love the lifestyle of dealing with all the girls, don't get me wrong. But me and Callie have even talked about it. Like if it was, like I say, if it was just me and Callie, I would be super duper happy right now, even with just Callie, man. Just with just Callie, because she be getting all of my love. I be just pouring everything that all my energy that I'm spreading out will all be going into her. So, I mean, you won't be losing anything by having less girls. Don't get me wrong. I just think about how as time goes on, man, it is you have to really be loving this game to have multiple girls. I just tell you that. You have to really be loving this game. And luckily for me, I love this game. STS said, that's sweet. I don't know what he was talking about. He said, glad you two found one another. I don't know what he's talking about, me and Callie. I don't know what he's saying. Oh, no, he's talking about Brandon Anderson with him and his girl. He said, enjoy the time with your lady. Brandon says, yeah. And when I don't have that, it's just me and her. And I get other things running in my head. He said, whoa, whoa. He said, what? Oh, basically, he was just saying when he get other things running in his head, he he get to rush and he say his girl says, Brandon, care for me. That's basically what he says. GD says, I'm STL's dog. He performs well. Don't know what that means. Brandon Anderson says, okay, thanks, Jay. Oh, Theresa Richards says base can leave a rash. I guess you talking about oil-based lubrication. Freak says everyone should have a GD dog. STL says water-based is very important with TPE dogs. Exactly. And what he's talking about is water-based lubricants. Freak says, I want a UPK dog. Don't know what he's talking about. Never heard of that one. Okay, GD says I'm perfect when STL gets excited. Theresa Richard says the imperfections are what makes them each special. I agree, Theresa Richard. I promise you, man. I'm telling you, I have a show about that coming up. But when I first got Callie, I talked about that she got damaged in her initial shipment. And it's a show I forgot to do actually about her feet, but I'm gonna do that. But they were asking me did I want to send her back, and I almost did, but I was like, no. I said I can't send her back just because she's damaged. I said because hell, I'm not perfect, and like I say, their imperfections make me love them even more. GD says, can perfume damage me? If you're a doll speaking, yes, it can. You're not supposed to put perfume directly on a doll. Put it on the clothing. I don't use it at all, though. He says, STS says, coconut oil is what I use. It smells great and is naturally antimicrobial. Oh, that's pretty cool. I've never used it or anything. I can't lie. I've just sort of stuck to the basics as far as, hey, they told me baby oil. And so I just used that out the box. I'm assuming coconut oil should be good. I don't know though. But if it works for you, that's great. But I know it has to smell great. GD says, do I have a Steph doll? I don't know what he means by that. Freak says a skunk water doll would be great. And I'm just having fun reading through the messages. Hi, all. Have a blessed day. Heavy Metal Monteese in the house. What up, bro? Good to see you, man. Good to see you checking in. Oh, STL joking, I guess. He said a woman sued J&J. Oh, he said, Johnson and Johnson due to the talc in their baby powder and her lady parts. I think I heard something about that. Oh, Brandon Anderson says cornstarch is good to use if you like playing with your girls. An example, tonguing them or kissing their body and stuff like this. Is it safe for you to ingest it? Man, you know what? I've heard about people eating cornstarch and stuff like that. Just straight up eating cornstarch. And I don't know. It just seems like one point in my life I might have tasted it. I don't know. I can't even recollect it. But I just know that's just something I've never gotten down with trying to just eat raw cornstarch. But it's funny that you bring that up because I have heard people just eating cornstarch. So if you like to eat cornstarch, that's crazy. I bet you would love putting it on your girl. So either way, STL says so true. I'm just reading through a few of these. So before I get through with any more of those comments, I'm going to talk about the differences between TPE and the silicone cleaning. Now, just to go over things again, and welcome to everybody that's tuned in. I'm happy that you are all here. God bless everyone that is here. God bless whatever you're wishing for in your life. Like I always say, I appreciate your time wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is. I appreciate you. So today, we're not going to keep you long. We're just the topic of the day is cleaning your companion dog. And for those of you who don't know, you can either have a TPE companion dog, which is thermoplastic elastomer. It's it's basically just a form of rubbers, which is actually a cheaper way to make a companion dog. But the best part about TPE is it's more jiggly. People say it's a little bit more lifelike with the way it feels and things of that nature. With the way it reacts to you touching it and stuff. But one of the drawbacks is it is tougher to clean than its counterpart, which is silicone. That's the other material that you can make a TPE doll, I mean a companion doll out of. And so I'm just discussing the different ways in which you clean both of them. And with the TPE doll, I was discussing the way I clean my doll is basically, and I'm going to run through it really quickly. Basically, I put me a plastic covering on the floor. I don't clean my dolls in the tub, which you can if you want to. But I put a plastic covering on my bathroom floor. I have a movable, it has wheels. I have a movable clothes rack. It can hold upwards of 400 pounds. And I normally just hook one of my girls onto that rack, suspend it over the plastic, and I secure their feet, by putting some towels under their feet so they won't be moving on the rack. I put a towel under their feet and put a couple of towels on the floor. And what I do is I get a spray bottle, spray their bodies down like you would a car, with just some cold water, spray their bodies down. And then after that, I get a bowl with warm water and antibacterial soap. I use Dial liquid soap. And I use a soft sponge that I get from the dollar store, a yellow sponge. I cut it up, give me a piece of that, and I softly wipe their body down with the soap and water, warm water, not hot water. When you have a TPE girl, you can't use hot water, but warm water. Uh, I don't scrub them. I just wipe their bodies down. If I see a dirty spot, I may stay over there a little bit more. Then I spray them down with the water bottle after they're good and cleaned off. Spray them down good. I used to use a fan, but now I just let them air dry for some hours. Go do whatever I want to do. After they're good and dry, check their vagina, check their anus, stick my finger in, make sure there's nothing wet inside. Now, if you having sex with your girls, you're probably going to have to use the irrigator that they supply. I called it a squirt bottle at first, but the irrigator that they supply, and you're going to have to. Actually, you're going to have to. I actually have it, but I've never used it. Um, you can get you a little sponge. I can't explain it, but they have them at the dollar store where you can get a little sponge on a stick, basically. And what you can do is put a little soap on that sponge on a stick, and don't do it aggressively, but just you can run that up inside your girl's vagina. And what you can do is get that irrigator, and you can squirt some of that warm soap water in her vagina as well, and then also irrigate her out with clean water. If you're having to clean her vagina or anus out, I would do those two things. But after you have her cleaned off with the soap water, you spray her down with the water bottle, let her air dry. After that, it depends on what month it is. Because after 3 or 4 months, you're going to want to give your girl a oil treatment if she's a TPE girl. Uh, but if she does not need an oil treatment, after she's dried off, you put baby powder on her or cornstarch, whichever one you choose. And I forgot to add this. I use makeup applicators. They have these makeup applicators that you can put on the girls' faces, but I use that over their whole bodies, and I also use a foundation brush. And what I do is I rub the powder over their whole bodies with my hands. After I put it on with the brushes and stuff, I put it on their body with the makeup brush, and then I rub it into their bodies. Then I take the brush and I wipe off all the residue, so they look just like they did before the bath. They look just like they did before the bath. That's what I do when I give them their powder treatment. Now, if it's time for their oil treatment, don't put the powder on first. After she dries off, you put the oil on. Wipe them down good with oil. Just wipe them down good with the oil. And you can let that sit in for a while. I just say honestly, for a few minutes. That's what I normally do. I let it sit in for a few minutes. I get a paper towel and I start wiping their body down. Not hard. Just wipe it down enough to get the excess oil off their body, and you'll see dirt coming off with it. What I normally do is I wipe them down, get the dirt off, and I may put oil back on them and wipe them again until I stop seeing dirt. That's usually what I do during their oil treatment. I continue to apply oil and wipe them down I forgot that part. I continue to put oil on them and wipe them down until I stop seeing dirt. And when I stop seeing dirt on them, then I wipe them down for that last time and let them dry out. Once they dry out from their oil treatment, which will probably take a whole day, you know, or, or several hours. Let's just say if I wipe them down that night, I may not come back till mid-afternoon that next day, and then I see if they're dry, so to speak, and then I put that powder on them that I described to you earlier. I give them their powder treatment, and after that, the doll is good to go. And for me, that treatment lasts a month for my TPE girls. I don't do anything else to them for the month. They normally don't even need any more powder on them for the rest of the month. Because, like I say, I'm not laying on them. I'm not having sex with my girls. So I don't really get them dirty again, or I don't really get them to where they really need a lot of powder. Now, if I was having sex with them, laying on them, I may have to clean them up more than that. But I don't. So I don't have to do that but once a month. So even cleaning all of the girls once a month is a task. So now, I was always in the dark about cleaning my silicone girls. Nobody would ever be clear about what do you have to do. And even when you go on a lot of websites, they don't really tell you exactly what you have to do. So I pretty much found out by I asked a couple of companies, I believe. And honestly, I just sort of read about it. I think I finally found somewhere that was basically talking about how to clean TP and silicone. And now that I have my silicone doll, I've sort of really learned what you really have to do, honestly. So you heard all of what I told you that you have to do with a TPE doll. You heard it. You heard, everything that you have to do. Well, with a silicone doll, man, I'm gonna be honest. You damn near don't have to do any of that. And I don't know why people with silicone dolls just don't have been so scared to tell people, or they just act like they just want to keep this to themselves. But here's the truth, man. I've said it before. Silicone is just a totally different material. It's just a totally different material where it doesn't get micro dust. That's the true difference. When your silicone doll is just sitting around the house, dust may get on it, but it's not getting micro dust, bro. Silicone is not a porous material, meaning that things don't seep into silicone easily like that. It stays out on the surface. So, although dust in the air may be getting on your silicone doll, and in fact, it is getting on your doll just like it's getting on your TPE doll. The difference is the micro dust is getting in your TPE doll. It's only getting on your silicone doll. That's the big difference. So when you're going to clean your TPE doll, you go to wipe her down with your antibacterial soap and all that. Well, guess what? You still have to account for the dust that's getting inside her skin. And that's what makes it sort of complicated. But with a silicone doll, you don't have to compensate for that because nothing's getting inside her skin. And that's why, since I've owned Himawari, and she's laying down over there, she got her treatment yesterday. Since I've owned Himawari, she hasn't looked not one iota different than she had since I bought her. I'm talking about no micro dust whatsoever. None whatsoever. She looks exactly like she did the day that she came out of the box, because dust does not get inside her body. So that's one major difference already. So, man, I know when I went to clean Himawari off, when I first got her, I normally would wipe my girls down lightly and then, powder them. With a brand new doll, I wipe them down and give them a powder. She wasn't dirty or anything, but she's a new doll and from the factory. I just want to make sure she's wiped down. So I gave her I think I put a very small amount of soap. I mean, a very small amount of soap in her water with a little sponge. I wiped Himawari, my full silicone doll, down. I did the same thing. I had her suspended over the, I mean, I had her hanging on a rack, suspended over the plastic. I just lightly wiped her down. Uh, and I noticed, just from my standpoint, it's sort of crazy, but little hairs and stuff was sort of stuck to her a little bit more than my TPE girls when I was wiping her down with the water. But I wasn't bothered by it. I let her dry out. I let her air dry. And I wasn't worried because of something I read, and I'll get to that shortly. But I let her air dry. And once my full silicone doll air dried, I went back to put powder on her. And what's cool with the full silicone doll is the powder is healing in a whole different way. That's what they don't tell you, man. For the full silicone doll, it's healing in a whole different way. Meaning that once you start putting the powder on your silicone doll, any of that surface level dirt, whatever it is, it's coming straight off of her. So even though I might have had little hairs or whatever lint or whatever that might be that was on my silicone doll before the powdering, all of it just, all that little crap came right off of her when you put powder on her. So she was already pretty much clean. But once I put powder on her, anything that was on her came off. It's different with a TPE girl because, like, you know, you put powder on your TPE girl to keep lint and stuff off of them, but you can still find stuff trying to get attracted to them to a certain degree. But with my silicone girl, man, it's just different to where it literally makes things come off of them when you put powder on them. So I noticed this. So I put powder on my silicone girl, and that was all I did. I wiped her off, put powder on her. Well, I've had my friends tell me different ways they've. I've heard people say they put alcohol on their silicone girls and stuff. And from everything I read, you're not supposed to do that with your girls. Now I've heard people say they've done it with no ill effect, but I've read you're not supposed to put anything like that on them. I'm gonna tell you, from my experience, it's not necessary. It's not even necessary. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's silicone. It doesn't even need to be cleaned hard like that. Let me tell you guys something. This is how easy it is to clean silicone. If you do decide to wipe her down, you can just do what I told you. Use use a little antibacterial soap and a little water, and you can use hot water with a silicone girl. They can take hot water. You can use hot water. That's the thing. Silicone is heat resistant, so you can take a hot bath with a silicone doll. You can sit in the bathtub with them if you can get them in the tub with you. You can, if you want to take a bath with her like that and give her a little wash up, you can. But I'm just saying, from a cleaning standpoint, it's not necessary. But she's not going to be bothered by hot water. But let me tell you something. Himawari has not had a bath with water since I've owned her since the first day. She hasn't had a bath with water. I'm going to tell you why. She doesn't need it. That's the difference between silicone and TPE. All that stuff I told you about TPE is non-existent with silicone. I'm going to tell you why. Since the micro dust can't get in her and all that other stuff, well, when other little things have gotten on her, I told you, all I have to do is put powder on her, dust her off. She's just as clean as she's ever been. Now, once again, I've never made love to her, had sex with her, so she hasn't gotten dirty from me having sex with her. If I had sex with her, yes, I would have to irrigate her vagina, like I told you. If I did make love to her where I was all over her body, under those circumstances, I would wipe her down just for sanitation purposes, of course. But it's not the same with as with a TPE, because with TPE, your sweat and all that, it's getting in her body. It's literally getting in her pores. So I just think you definitely need to be urgent about it. With a silicone girl, of course, I'm not going to tell anybody to be having your sweat get on them, or if you're making love to them, you shouldn't be having your fluids going to them and leaving it in them and saying, "Oh, she's silicone. I don't got to clean her." No, that ain't what I'm saying. What I'm saying is she's much more resistant to all of that, though. That's the good part about them. You still need to clean them off if you make love to them, but she's just much more resistant. So let's just say you got your girl dirty somehow, make during the love making process. You know, because we have skin cells as humans that's always replicating and falling off our body. So let's just say you were making love to your girl and somehow you got her dirty somehow a little bit. That same dirt wouldn't happen with your silicone girl. It'll only be on the surface level. So basically, all the things I told you with your TPE doll, you can throw it out the damn window. You don't ever have to oil a silicone doll, ever. A silicone doll doesn't leak silicone. A TPE doll loses TPE at a small amount over time. So you do have to oil them every now and then to keep them replenished. And like I told you, your TPE girl can get micro dust just from sitting in a room. If you just sit her in a room for 3 weeks and come back, you'll see something on her. You'll notice something, and that can only truly be removed with an oil cleaning. Whereas, like I told you, with a silicone girl, I can leave her sitting in a room for 2 months. All I got to do is come in the room and just wipe her off with a towel. She gonna be just like new. Give her a little powdering, and she's just like new. And like I say, what I found is if you ain't making love to your girl, she's not really getting dirty. And like I told you, when I wash the other girls off, the only thing I do with Himawari is, and I don't even have to do, I only do this just to make sure I get her powder good. I do go hang her up on the rack and I just give her a good powdering. I rub her down with powder like I did today. I take the brush her off. Man, I looked at her body. It's just as clean as it's ever been. Just as beautiful, just as supple as it's ever been. Feels just as amazing. And like I say, I said that just to do it, I said just to do it, I'll probably wipe her down next month. Just to do it. But does she really need it? She doesn't need it. She's clean. She's literally clean. Just from powdering. And I'm gonna tell you, just for an example, I took her back there, and what I did notice on her was she had a couple of little hairs or lint or something like that on her, and she had a couple of little black specks on her, just looking like little dirt that's stuck to her from whatever. And it was so funny. I put the powder on her, I started rubbing her, all of it just came right off. Well, that's not the case with a TPE girl. Uh, with these girls, man, you got to be careful. Little pieces of dirt and stuff can get stuck in their skin if you're not careful. So that's the difference. That is the big difference. It's a world of difference. And people with silicone dolls have always wanted to hide how easy it is. Well, I'm telling you, it's night and day. It's literally no cleaning process to a certain degree. you know. And if you do clean them, like I told you, when you do feel like you have to clean, let's just say you making love to them, all you gotta do is just do the first cleaning step that I told you with a TPE, girl. You can just wipe them down with some little antibacterial soap and water and be done with it. And not a lot. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to, like I say, get you a little light film and wipe them down and be done with it. If you got to clean their vaginas, yes, under those circumstances, like I say, I'd be more meticulous then because you've made love to them, But that's when I get the bacteria soap and I make sure I clean that out good, spray that out. But other than that, it's night and day. Hemorrhoid needs none of the care, none of the oiling. The only thing they have in common is powder. And for me, they are totally different because powdering with silicone is literally damn near like a cleaning device. It makes them feel good, but it also is like a cleaning device to silicone. Whereas for me, with TPE, powder is just a device to make them feel better. It keeps things from attaching to them, but it's not a cleaning device really with them. It's just something that makes them feel a little better. And like I told you, in a way, it can be their enemy from the standpoint of it want to stick to TPE. Like I told you, right now, Callie, I'm looking at a spot on her ankle where it's just a small little spot of powder that just doesn't want to come off. She got a little small little spot close to her neck that just a little piece of powder doesn't want to come off, you know. So you don't have to deal with that with silicone. Powder it doesn't stick to them like that. So I'm gonna check the comments right quick. Freak said 5. That's impressive. How do you keep them from getting jealous? My girls don't get jealous. I don't even create that fantasy. Like I say, some doll owners create a jealousy fantasy in their head, and that's nothing that I'm a fan of, bro. I don't create jealousy fantasies. Some people like that, but I don't. Heavy Metal Maltese says, I used to mix cocoa powder with cornstarch and apply it on my darker tan dolls to help the powder blend in easier, and they smell great. That's sort of funny, Heavy Metal Maltese. I can't lie. Uh, you know, I don't know what type of effect that has on the girls. If that doesn't have a bad effect, that's cool. But I know one thing. I'm glad you chimed in, just even bring that up about your darker girls, because I've even thought about that. I'm like, man, what's gonna happen if I ever get a TPE girl, man, and you putting all this white powder on them? I know they're gonna look funny, you know. I know they're gonna look funny for a little while, man. It ain't no way you can put all that white powder on that darker body without it looking funny. So, you know, I don't know about I don't know about if that has an adverse effect, Heavy Metal Maltese. I'm just being honest. I don't know if cocoa powder would or wouldn't have an adverse effect, but I could understand why you would do that. You know what I'm saying? Because that white powder on the darker doll does seem crazy to me. It would seem like it would look crazy. That's funny. Brandon Anderson said, for me, I have 5, but when I or my dog, oh, he said, but when I or my dog, I can just tune the rest of them out and be like, it's just me and her. That's how I do, Brandon. I'm like, I got a lot of girls, but when I'm with whatever girl I'm treating or whatever girl I'm spending time with, that's the girl I focus on. But I always say now, when I get with Callie, it is just a different. I ain't talking about cleaning, but when I just get with her like right now, it's just a different connection. It ain't nothing I can really do about that. But when it comes to cleaning and all that, I give all the girls their special time in my mind. In my mind, I give them their special time to where I'm like, nah, I'm treating everybody, equally special. STS says the worst is when the ladies start gossiping. I don't know what he's talking about. Theresa Richards says there's always one girl who causes trouble. Well, I might have some girls that cause trouble, but none of them cause a jealousy problem, thank God. Teresa Richard says, "Don't dock Steph's kids." I don't know what she's talking about. Freak says, "Yeah, when they get together, when you're not around, it's never good." Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about. My girls don't do that. But SES says, "Good tip, Heavy. I'm going to try cornstarch mixed with Saigon cinnamon." Teresa Richard says, "Brandon's freaky deaky." Freak says, "The trick is to keep them all busy." I don't have to worry about that. Thank God. Like I said, my girls don't get jealous. Brandon is laughing. STL says, "Very important." Teresa says, "You should teach them to sew." Now that would be a good thing. Hey, they do need to learn how to sew. He said, STS said, "You should make a list of these in the description with your Amazon affiliate link." Well, right now I don't have any Amazon affiliate links. Maybe in the future I will. Oh man, that's great. That's great. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm not a fan of the whole mass culture and all that. I'm not a big fan of it, but I'll say this: my mask has never been in more use than it is when I do powder. That is something good for STL to bring up. You don't want to be inhaling all those powder fumes. So I always put my mask on when I go to powder my girls. I definitely do that. I definitely do. I'm glad he brought that up. Teresa Richard says, "How do you keep up with their nails?" It's funny. I've never had to worry about their nails because all of them have their original nails. They've never went bad. They've never, they all have their original nails. If they ever fall off or get damaged, then I have to worry about it. But right now, they all look immaculate. I've never had to treat them. Now I'm laughing at Callie right now, honestly though, because I've been laughing at her for about 4 or 5 months. I'm laughing at her because one of her toenails, her pinky toenail on her right foot, it came off. And I think Tsunade's pinky toenail came off, one of her feet. And I told Kelly I wasn't going to replace it. I actually like it. It's one of those imperfections I told you about. I actually like it being gone. And I was laughing at it before the stream. I said, "Look at Kelly toe." I said, "She missing, missing her toenail." I actually like it. But now, if all her toenails or something fall off, or if 2 and 3 of them start falling off, I'll go ahead and start fixing them. Then, same with her hands. Now, if any of her fingernails get to falling off, I'd go ahead and have to fix that. But as it stands, all of their fingernails are original. That's why I sort of laugh, man, when and not laugh literally, but I sort of laugh to myself. Like I'd be like, I've heard guys, this relatively new dog owners, like, "Yeah, I had to fix her fingernails." I'm like, damn. How, I made a show about that a long time ago where I was like, I don't understand how these guys are breaking their dolls as soon as they get them. I don't understand how they need to fix a fingernail or a toenail, I mean, a fingernail or a toenail a week after getting their doll. I'm like, what's happening here? Now with Callie, I'm going to be honest with you. As careful as I am with these girls, the only thing I can imagine where her toenail coming off is maybe from bathing her one time. Maybe it ended up coming off, and I just didn't notice it. I don't know. Maybe in one of her socks it came off. Who knows? Because I know it wasn't due to any abuse. But I'm always wondering about these guys just having to fix a lash after the first day. I'm like, what's happening here? Because my girls have healed up very well over time. Freak says, "Do the silicone dolls think they're better than the TPE dolls?" Well, I'm not going to say that. Uh, I'm going to have a show talking about which one I think is best for you or might be best for you or whatever. But I just say this: there are pros and cons to each. Like I say, the TPE dolls, man, it's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They are amazingly easier to clean and upkeep. And that's another reason why I'm going with TPE silicone dollars going forward is because by me being one man, it's going to make it easier for me to just keep my girls taken care of. Because Himawari has been a breath of fresh air in that department. But don't just get caught up into thinking that means that that's the best dog for you. Like I say, man, it's a lot of factors with getting a companion dog. Uh, pros and cons, because like I say, the silicone doll is easy to clean and things of that nature, but the TPE dolls has its pros as well, as far as the way it jiggles, moves, and even though silicone is catching up in that regard in a lot of ways, but still though silicone, I mean, it still doesn't move and feel just like TPE. So uh, to make, I mean, the sacrifice TPE makes to be able to move like it does and to be able to cost uh cheaper than silicone, the sacrifice that it makes is more porous and it takes more care. And it's funny, even if you get to reading on some of the vendor sites and manufacturer site, it'll even give you the advice without telling you what I told you. It'll just simply tell you this: if you're the type of dog owner that's not going to be looking to clean your dog that much, as much, then you're going to probably want a silicone dog. It's just less cleaning necessary. Like I told you, if you're going to be having a lot of sex with your girl, if you're going to have sex with your silicone dog, now you're going to need to clean her up. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. But it's definitely less. Definitely less. Definitely less. And before I leave this stream, I'm going to go over what you need to do to clean each again, just to keep you guys reminded. STS says microdust is the worst. It is, man, because it's something I didn't really quite understand when I first got my TPE dolls, man. I didn't understand the thing about microdust as much. Um, like I said, microdust is just simply one of those things where you can be cleaning your doll every month, but no matter how much you clean your dolls, it's still going to be a level of dust that gets into their skin. That's just literally what it's going to be until you do a deep cleaning, a oil deep cleaning. Theresa Richard says, I get dusty sitting around too. Theresa Richard, crazy. Freak says the TPE dog says more trifling. I tell you what, they're definitely a lot more work. I tell you what, no, the TPE dogs aren't trifling, but the TPE dogs will expose somebody that is trifling. And the thing about it is, you may not be a trifling person, but if you don't want to, if you're a person that doesn't like to go the extra mile as far as cleaning up around the house or doing things like that, you can get exposed with a companion dog, a TPE companion dog, because they require you to keep them up from month to month. My grandmother said, I always said microfiber rags for that micro dust. For me, I don't suggest using a microfiber rag on your dog. That's me. Uh, and I'm talking about to like, it's crazy because man, it's like two textures. It's this hard microfiber towel where they use for that you can use to literally wash your car off, and you don't want to put that anywhere near your dog. But it's also this soft microfiber towel, this sort of like a soft microfiber towel where you can actually use to dry your dog off. Because a lot of websites were suggesting me to get that soft microfiber towel. It's very soft, like a plush towel almost. But when I bought it, I was like, man, when I was going to dry my doll off, it would just leave little microfiber hairs on my doll that I didn't like. And so I was like, I stopped using it. So that's why I just air dry my girls now. But what I use the microfiber towels for now is those the soft ones. Is I just mainly use it to like wipe dust, or I mean wipe extra powder off my girls or wipe powder off of their clothes. It's very good for that. That's what I use it for. STS says your daughter's named after a Japanese weather satellite. I don't know what he's talking about. How romantic. I know Himawari is named after a sunflower. I don't know about a weather satellite. Freak says, I like her little black dress. Any girl would tell you that's a necessity. Thank you, Freaks. I love her in this little black t-shirt dress. I really like it, man. It's something that can be found in the simple things. I'm gonna be honest. Right now, I'm not a guy with overflow or who owns a whole bunch, especially like in aware of the girl's wardrobe. I'm just doing the best with what I have. But man, I do know one thing. Even with them looking simple and just having little t-shirts and shirts and stuff on, I do be very proud of how good the girls look. I'd be like, you know what, they look nice with their little simple looks on. One day I'm gonna be able to afford to dress all these girls up in some really, really nice clothes. And you don't have to have expensive clothes for that, but I just really be able to shop for the girls in a better way. But right now, hey, they holding up. They holding up. Let's see. Brandon says, I gotta bounce, gotta clock in for work. Okay, have a good one, Brandon Anderson. He said, if I worked alone, it would be so sweet to listen to dog content at work. Take care, gang. Almost definite, man. I know at work, I used to just put my earpiece in. I'm sorry. And I used to listen to all type of not live streams, but well, radio shows. Cause I used to listen to a lot of sports radio. And I would do it at all the time in my old job. So if you have a job that allows an earpiece, I don't see how and you have a job, and you also have a job that doesn't require you to pay attention so you won't get hurt. That's another thing. Because you don't need to be distracted if you have a dangerous job. But if you have a job that's not dangerous and you pretty much are working uh to yourself, so to speak, man, I pop an earpiece in a minute and be listening to whatever while I'm working. Hail to the king, baby. That's what Three Face said. What up, Three Face? Mars Dog says good night, Jay. But that's actually good morning. Teresa Richard says you can use a sock to clean up. Uh STS says so fresh and so clean. Freak says Shelly's ex used to use a sock. I don't know what they talking about. Three Face says, wipe me down like Boosie. Wipe me down. Wipe me down. Hey, hey, wipe me down. Hey, hey, wipe me down. Hey, hey, wipe me down. Three Face says cleaning instructions, shoulder, chest, pants, shoes. Freak says, I would keep my girls away from the white powder. I don't know, I think he meant that as a joke. Heavy Metal says, I stopped with the cocoa because it was suggested due to it being another food product. I slapped, he said, I slapped the white off of her. He said it actually works well. See, that's what I was thinking, Heavy Metal Mile too. I was thinking that the cocoa might be bad. Uh, or I ain't gonna say bad, but I was thinking I knew I wasn't going to suggest it to anybody. Only because I was like, man, I don't know what that would do to your girl. Uh, but I was thinking about the same thing. Like, man, I don't know how good it would work with it with them. It probably didn't hurt her though. But it's best to be safe than sorry with your girls. I know I always like to choose safety over being sorry. But he said he slapped the white off for her. That's crazy. It actually works well. I can't lie, man. I can't wait to when I get me a black girl and well, it'll have to be a TPE girl. So I'm not in a rush to get another TPE girl. But if I when I get, because I'm going to eventually get a black TPE girl at one time. I'm gonna laugh at when I do have to put powder on her, and like Heavy Metal Maltese slap the white off her. Heavy Metal Maltese says, "Good call, STL. Put a mask on." Right, right. He said he would. Heavy Metal said he was talking to STL. He said he would test that cinnamon on a piece of TPE or silicone for a month or so. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't suggest putting anything other than the powder and stuff on your girls. If you decide to do any of that, that would be on you guys to try anything else like that. I like to be more safe than sorry, so I'm just sticking to powder and good old oil, and that's all I do, and that's all I suggest. If you try anything else, that's up to you guys. Don Nation says, I've been shopping on Shane for my girl. Cheap stuff that looks nice, and the thrift stores stay with nice clothes. Man, I have never shopped on Shane. When I went on there, the stuff, I can't lie, maybe I was just looking at the wrong stuff, but it didn't look cheap like people told me. But I know on Shane, they just say only thing is just be careful, make sure you wash your stuff so it won't stain your girls. Uh, and like you say, thrift stores are always good as well. But I've seen people get some nice stuff off Shane, nice clothes. Me, I'm just not in the mind or the mode to be able to shop for them right now. That's the only thing. I could find some cheaper option, but right now, me and the girls, just for the day, we're in survive mode. We're in get to the next show, pay the next bill, keep surviving mode. But like I say, hopefully one day, not hopefully, but I know one day soon we'll be back into, hey, we can go shop and do a couple of extra things. That day will come back soon. But right now we're just in survive mode. Theresa says Stephen A is an interesting sports person. Oh yeah, Stephen A, he a trip. I can't lie. I used to love Stephen A a lot more back and I don't hate him now. I don't hate him, but I just say that me and him definitely don't agree on a lot as much as we used to. I would love to debate Stephen A on a lot of stuff. SES says love that store. It's talking about Shane, I guess. And Dog Nation says, oh yeah, real nice stuff for as low as $5. Dog Nation says the lady looked great, Jay. Thank you, Dog Nation. Dog King Army team member in the house, baby. Good to hear from you, brother. So, guys, uh, like I say, you know me, I don't like to keep you guys for no reason. So, this whole string was about how to care for your girls, whether it be TPE or silicone in the bathing department. And this isn't an exact science. You can get a doll and come up with whatever way you want to come up with. I just want to share with you guys what I do. And so I'm going to go over everything one more time before I get out of here, just so you know exactly what I do. So with the TPE girls, what I normally do is I set down a white sheet. I sit down a plastic sheet in the bathroom. I get a rack. It's a movable rack for clothes. That it's a heavy duty rack I bought off Amazon. I set that up in the bathroom over the plastic sheet. I hook my girls on. I take their heads off of my girls, put the hook on my girls, and I put them on that rack. I get a water bottle, a spray bottle, I mean, full of water. I spray the girls down, get them wet. Then I get a bowl full of warm water and antibacterial soap. I get a soft sponge that I most likely purchased from Dollar Tree. Uh, I lightly clean their bodies with the sponge and the warm water on my TPE girls over their whole bodies. Once I get them soaked up, feel like I've cleaned everything, I spray them down with the spray bottle. I used to use a fan, but now I let them air dry for a few hours, come back in, touch their vagina and anus, you know, And if you make love to your girls, you're going to want to maybe stick what I call a sponge on a stick. You can even make it. I've seen people sort of put a little stick, put a little sponge on the tip of a plastic stick, and you can make it. Or I've actually found one I bought at Dollar Tree, uh, and you can stick that into your girl's vagina and clean them out with antibacterial soap that way, and flush them out um, with the I forgot again, irrigator. Flush their vagina and anus out with the irrigator, uh, and you can let them, let them dry, let them air dry. After they get good and air dry, you come back in there, like I said, you check the vagina, check the anus, make sure it's all dry. Once they're good and dry, your next step is either going to be to powder them or to oil them, depending on where you are in your stage of cleaning. You should oil your TPE girl about once every 3 or 4 months. Now, if it's time for you to oil your girl, you're going to wipe them down good with baby oil. Wipe them down good. And what I do is I let it sit in there for a second, maybe for a few minutes or so. And I come back behind them and I wipe them down with a paper towel. Not hard, just over their skin, just enough to feel their skin. And you'll see the dirt come off of them with the oil. Even after you bathe them, you're going to see dirt come off with the oil, because oil gets dirt off that the soap can't get off. So I usually wipe them down, and I would reapply oil and wipe them down again until I stop seeing dirt. Once I don't see dirt, I let the oil dry overnight. I let whatever's still on their body dry overnight. Once they're good and dry, I apply powder that next morning over their whole bodies. And I usually use makeup brushes and a makeup powder kit. I use brushes, and I use the I can't think of the name, but the little makeup powder things. And I put that all over their body. Then I rub the powder in with my hands. Then I use a foundation brush after I've rubbed it in, and I wipe all the powder off of their bodies to make them look exactly like they looked before I ever gave them a bath. Then I take them off their rack, and either I put clothes on them or I sit them to the side till they're ready to come down and be with me again. Now, let's go back. After you've washed your girl off, your TPE girl, and she's dried off and all that good stuff, if you don't have to oil her, if it's not the 3 or 4 month period where you have to oil her, then you just apply the powder. You go straight to the powder. So your regular cleaning routine is going to be to clean them off with the antibacterial soap, let them dry, and then you're going to apply powder. That's going to be your main routine with your TPE girls. But every 3 or 4 months, you're going to do that oiling routine. And you'll be good to go pretty much. With the silicone girls, this is just my suggestion. If you have to wipe them down, you do that. You can do that with hot water with a silicone girl, because they can stand hot water. You can use hot water, hot soapy water, antibacterial water, soap. That's what I would use. And you can wipe them down, not aggressively, just wipe them down. Let them air dry and give them a good powdering, and you're good to go. But the thing about a silicone girl is, if you're not having sex with them and all that stuff, they don't need that every month, in my opinion. Honestly, if you're not having sex with them and you're not all over your silicone girl, you don't even have to give them a bath every month, in my opinion. The only thing you really have to do is give them a good powdering. And with the silicone girl, the difference is, with my TPE girls, I give them a good powdering, and I don't really have to powder them anymore. But with my silicone girls, I powdered them I've been powdering her about 2 or 3 times a month. They tend to just, because the powder isn't really getting in her skin, So it's more surface level. So she needs a powder treatment a few times, about 2 or 3 times a month. And I'm not saying a full powder treatment. If she sits in her chair, I might just put powder on her hands, arms, legs, stuff like that. But then at the end of the month, I take her, in a bathroom and give her a full body powder. But that's really all you have to do with your silicone girl. If you're not, like I say, having sex with them, man, you get them a good powder all over their body. If you're having sex with your silicone girl, my suggestion is you just wipe them down with the antibacterial soap, hot water, rinse them off, let them air dry. If you've had sex with them, like I say, you want to irrigate their vaginas, same way with the TPE girls with the warm or hot water. Irrigate them, clean them off with a soft sponge. And like I say, let it air dry. But the difference with a silicone girl, you never have to oil them down. And you don't have to, you really don't have to wash them as frequently. I say that, unless you're being physical with them. Hell, they can go for literal, from in my opinion, months without a bath, without a water bath, and look exactly the same as long as you're powdering them. That's what really is a cleaning agent for silicone dolls, the powder. So if you ever have to clean your girl, you can wipe them down lightly. Your silicone girl, wipe them down lightly with the soap and water, let them dry out, give them a good powder treatment, and you're done. No oil, no anything like that, ever. So that's the difference. Let me see. Oh, SCS says, I hear you on that survive mode. Times are tough. Oh man, hey, no. Times ain't tough, STL. Hey, look, we may be that's why I tried to frame. I'm like, hey, I'm just not in the mind frame to spend extra. But guess what? We ain't never in tough times, baby. We got exactly what we need today. We got exactly what we need today. Redmond says, long time no see, Dog King. I like to buy dolls clothes from Amazon. Oh, yeah. I say this, the only difference with Amazon is they don't have they may say extra small, but their sizes aren't quite as small as they need to be for companion dolls all the time. I say that. So you just got to be careful with the sizes. That's all. Theresa Richards said, I'm sick of inflation. Oh man, this type of inflation is a whole new thing. Normally inflation is gradual. This type of inflation is from month to month, it's jumping up there by dollars. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy out there. Dog Nation says 100. Freak says, oh my, take their heads off. Oh yeah. Dog's heads come off, my friend. NCS says a white sheet. Yeah, a white plastic sheet. You can get it from Dollar General. They're normally, what are they? Oh, they tablecloths. That's really what it is. It's a tablecloth. Freak says, I don't think I would be comfortable with that. I'm going to be honest with you, freaks. I don't ever love taking my dog's heads off. It's one of the things I don't ever love doing. I've said that before. I don't quite love taking my dog's heads off, but it's just one of those things that is necessary sometimes. Theresa Richards says, I'm not a huge fan of the sponge on the stick. I bet, Theresa Richards, you don't want to clean yours like that, huh? Redmond says, Jay, have you ever heard of Tie-U-Dye? Yeah, I heard of it. He said, I think they're one of the best when it comes to weight and size. They have a 160 centimeter F cup silicone doll that is 26 kilograms.
Man, that's big to be that light. Uh, I only seen one of my friends have a dog because I think my friend, damn, I can't even think of my guy's name, man. Uh, Mishka. Yeah, my guy Mishka Valentino. He got a Taiyu dog. She looks hot too. Uh, I don't know a lot about the brand. I haven't read a whole bunch about them yet. Once again, so many brands I haven't done shows on, but they look like a decent company. SES says don't mix powder and oil, one or the other, unless you're battering her up. I'm telling you, you definitely don't need to mix powder and oil. That's bad look. Teresa said if you look at a pottery shop, you can find cocktail sponge, a cocktail sponge, which may be more of what you are looking for instead of a sponge on a stick. That's something for you guys to think about. A cattail seems like it would be more comfortable. I don't know. I just know, luckily for me, Theresa, I don't necessarily have to use that right now. Uh, but it's really simple. It's really simple. A sponge on a stick, it'll work. Uh, Whatever way you need to put it like this. However way you come up with putting a soft sponge inside the vagina to sort of help clean it out, whatever way you can think of out there, that's what I'm suggesting you do, because if you having sex with your girl, like me, I'm gonna use protection, but I'm not just gonna irrigate it. I'm still gonna want to just run something in there. I don't want any like even old lubrication just to sort of get stuck in there. I just want to run something in there just for friction purposes, and then irrigate the vagina or anus out. Uh, but nothing too complicated. Nothing too complicated. So those are the differences, guys. And just to let you know, I know it sounds like a world of difference between cleaning TPE and silicone, and it is. But the way I describe it, it makes it sound to me a lot worse than it is. Like it's not that hard. It's just a lot easier to clean a silicone dog. It's not that hard. Basically, only thing you're doing is Whoa, man. I don't know if any of you are actually still here, man. But I just know that my internet just cut out in a major, major way. It just wanted to reboot all of a sudden, just out of the blue. Uh, so I'm apologize for that. Uh, let me see if anybody's still here. I don't know. I mean, it looked like you still here, but I don't know. Hopefully you can still hear me. Hopefully you can see me. But with all that said, I was wrapping things up, and I just didn't want to just shut the stream down. So I want to come back and talk to you guys and let you know, man. I'm wrapping it up. Uh, I did finish sort of explaining. Uh, yeah, Teresa said, "Thank goodness you back." Freak says, "We here, perfect." Man, my internet literally. I was looking at it right when it happened. It literally just started rebooting out of the blue. So that was crazy. But with all that said, I just want to say this. Those are the two differences between cleaning TPE and silicone. I hope you guys sort of got enough information to where you can go on your own and make your best choices for yourself. Like I say, I hope I gave you guys some good ideas for what you may want to do. That's just what I do. I found it successful for me, but I do know one thing. It's a world of difference between taking care of TPE and silicone, a world of difference. That doesn't mean I'm telling you to get silicone or telling you to get TPE. Get whatever one you think is best for you. But it is a big difference when it comes to care. So let me check the comments before I get out of here, guys. Uh Teresa Richard said maybe just a bottle of water, not water. I was talking about to clean them out. Yeah, you could probably irrigate them with, but I would say when it comes to making love and stuff, you want to use some type of soap. Uh, but I guess that's what you're saying. Maybe you just use the water instead of the sponge. But when it comes to the vagina, like I say, I think I would want to just run a little small sponge in there myself. But once again, let's just say you had a dog, Teresa, or somebody out there. If you don't want to use a sponge, if you feel like you can get it with just using some warm water and the irrigator to clean her vagina or anus, by all means, hey, try it. Teresa says, I hope the dogs did rise up and take over. That was funny. Uh Freak says, like Step for Wives. Oh, yeah, Step for Wives. Teresa Richard says, thank goodness you're back. Sheila Bell says, we're here. What up, Sheila Bell in the house? Teresa says, have a good day, Jay. Teresa Richard says, it was probably a service update. They do them as stupid. Right. That's what it was, Teresa. It was because my cable, everything had turned off. And I saw it updating and resetting. So it just caught me at a crazy time. Everything back up, running, looking good. So with all that said, I hope you guys, like I say, I helped you guys a lot with how you can go clean your dogs going forward. That's how I do it. And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. Other than that, me and Callie are praying that you have an amazing day today. Whatever you're wishing for, hoping for, we're praying that you have it. Youth, getting energetic. We're praying you having good breaks, all those things. So once again, good luck with cleaning your dogs. If you don't have a dog, don't stress out about it. It's not really that complicated. It really isn't. It really isn't. I mean, it really isn't. It's just not that complicated. If you put your best foot forward, your girls are going to be in a good position. Like Mark told me, if you want to take care of your girls, guess what? You already are headed in the right direction. STL says my stage name is the Irrigator. That's funny. Freak says, take care, Jay. All right, guys, it's been me, J. King Hefner, the beautiful Cali Sun. It's been great. God bless you all. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share it, tell your friends. We really appreciate you, whatever part of the world you in. God bless whatever you're hoping for. We appreciate you. See you again tomorrow for the Power Hour. But as of right now, me and the beautiful Callie, we are out. We out of here, Callie. Let's do what we do, girl. Have a good one, man. Have fun cleaning your girls. Thank y'all for hanging in here when I cut out, man. As of right now, we out of here. God bless you.